What's going on, everybody? It's another KayFabeyBaby, the NRW Ring Generals, and we're here. It's no longer a trio, just a duo. I was trying to think of a name for you and I, Sean, and I'm going back to old school, and we are the KayFabeyBaby Killer Bees. What's going on?
The KBs, baby.
Right.
I love it. Yeah, man. I wanted to do a little, how about RTL? That's redefining the lifestyle. That's on you. I see it. Right. I wanted to do like an FTR joint.
I like that. Redefining the lifestyle.
RTL.
I like that.
Yeah, man. Man, we're super excited, fucking wrestling all weekend long.
It was a weekend, man. It was a weekend.
Man, I don't think I've consumed that much wrestling in like 72 hours in my entire life. Well, outside of like when I actually went to like WrestleMania week back in 2019, like we definitely we went to wrestling shows every single day from like Tuesday to Sunday. So I mean, but yeah, this was comparable, but just because there's so much going on. But yeah, I'm excited. How are you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's a lot, and we were talking beforehand. There was so much going on. There's some things I'm still trying to figure out what happened with some of these shows because it was just so much. It was hard to keep up.
Yeah. I'm, my main thing, like I'm fully up to date on AEW. Like I said, we talked before, took my dive into Impact for Emergence, see our girl Trinity, repping Canada in the hair, that was cute. But yeah, and then obviously NWA happened, we had Collision, then we had Raw on Monday. It's just so much.
Look, this is one best thing about this podcast. Wrestling fans are eating right now, like straight up. There's so much, not just wrestling, but good wrestling. And we ain't even getting to some of the smaller indie promotions around.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just bananas.
Yeah. And I'm glad that we all, like within this trio, within this group right here, we're just wrestling fans.
Yes.
We're not one specific. We might like one over the other a little bit, but we're not these stands that just completely shit on one of the other promotions just because we like one of the other ones. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we have like actual feelings about all of them, and we can also, and that's the thing too, is like I feel like if you're a true fan of something and you love it, you can criticize it. I love AEW, and people are like, oh, you're a stan. I'm just like, I will criticize AEW for what they fuck up on. That's the difference. You know what I mean? Like I have no problem saying that they fuck up on many levels, and they have a lot of work to still do, but they're also young. WWE, I mean, I shit on them too, even though they're very well-oiled, they've just been around for so long, it still doesn't make sense sometimes. But yeah, man, I really enjoy that about us, that unbiased, unstanning recounts of how we feel about all the different promotions. Because like you just said, we're eating. Like it's fun to watch wrestling. Not AEW, not WWE, not Impact, not just NXT. You know what I mean? Like, so it's nice.
Right. I agree. Well, you bring up AEW. Obviously, we had the humongous All In at Wembley Stadium this past weekend, and obviously some of our predictions came true. But let's start out with the top of the card, and I think we all were pretty much in agreement that we wanted MJF and Adam Cole to beat Aussie Open, and that actually happened. I actually think from a booking standpoint, it's a good look for bringing more prominence to ROH and at the tag team division.
I wholeheartedly agree, and I think we kind of like talked around this, right? Like I think at first we're like, oh, they can't beat Aussie Open, that'd make them look weak, blah 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 blah. And then we're just like, well, they probably want to continue their thing, because they've gotten so much hype, and I'm pretty sure they're making the merch sales for those fucking shirts. You know what I mean? So we were just like, we kind of talked to ourselves, and we're like, you know what? It would be cool if like they got the titles and they showed up on ROH. And then, we talked about the main event, what would happen at the main event that would get them on ROH and who to feud with, Kingdom, shit like that. And a lot of that came true, which we're going to talk about. Which I was telling my wife, I was like, watch this. She was like, how the fuck did you call that? I was just like, man, didn't exactly happen how I thought it was going to happen, but it still was somewhat like half. Yep. I was just like, bro. But yeah, no, it was a good match. He got his kangaroo kick.
Yes,
the fucking goddamn kangaroo. Dude, my man is just so good. He's just so, and he's so young. He obviously had like
25.
Yeah, he's 25. 26.
That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous.
And now he's at Wembley, and I think they had the final count at 81,035 people paid tickets, like not even comps.
Wow.
Like they were saying, like with comps and everything else, like free tickets and shit, it was probably close to like 89,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, that's crazy. But yeah, man, it was a great match. It further that thing. I really thought they were going to do like at least like a belt clink at the end of it when they won, but they didn't do that. They just went straight into like Adam staring at the belt, and like the tension started to build at the beginning of the night, which obviously is storytelling. Right. You know what I mean? They grab their belts, they leave separately of each other, and now they got to prepare for their singles match. But I really enjoyed that match.
Yeah, I thought it was a good one as well. Next up, we have Hook defeated Jack Perry. Now, this is a match I didn't see at all. So, how was this?
I saw it. It was all right. I think it was like a FTW match, so it was like no holds bar. Jack came out in the limo, and that's where the infamous line came from, when he looked at the camera and said, "Oh, it's real glass. Cry me a river," and that's when it started. Like. Everything has been going down backstage, and what people are talking about, what's taken over the internet, and all the rumor mills started churning. And you have 20 different stories about CM Punk and 20 different stories about, Jack Perry. And of course, people are sharing the fucking meme or the little clip when, CM Punk first got back and Jungle Boy was still Jungle Boy. And he's CM Punk was cutting a promo. He's just like, and I'm going to kick your ass one day. And he points at Jungle Boy. And I was like, well, we're here.
Yep, you're here.
It was an all right match. I mean, they fought around the limo. They threw each other on top of it. Jack Perry did a rolling thunder off the roof of the limo onto fucking Hook, who was on the hood. So he was like a little bit higher up. So I really like this. Like legend killer, like kind of legend trolling gimmick, like this heel gimmick for Jack Perry. Like it was just it still seems like he's trying to find his footing in it a little bit. Like he still seems kind of, I don't know, like second guessing or like a little awkward, especially like when he's like doing promos. Like even when he said the line to the camera about the real glass, it just seemed like, I don't know, it just seemed off.
Yeah.
But obviously Hook won, got the belt back. Now I don't know what that does for Jack Perry. You know what I mean? Like he went through this like legend killer thing, and he went back to Hook, and then he loses the Hook after beating all these legends. And now what?
Right.
And like, and this is before, the suspensions and everything like that. Like, what was the long-term booking idea for Jack Perry? Unless obviously all this is a work, and he was told to tell, like, speak this thing, and like there was going to be a scuffle backstage because they know how the fucking dirt sheets work still. And we had that conversation a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
About how it might have been last week, where AEW, I think, has an idea of how to manipulate the dirt sheets.
I agree.
And how to manipulate the leaks. I think they're really good at it. Or is just the most fucking unhinged shit, fucking guerrilla tactics backstage, and it's no holds bar. Anyone can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
And that could also be true. I don't know.
I agree with you in the context of, I feel like they are working the dirt sheets, because if everything that comes out is true. It sounds like the inmates are running the insane asylum. And I do not believe that could be the case with the sort of shows that they put on. And also to have the major network backing that they do. I don't think the network would tolerate that sort of shenanigans with the money they're putting up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I see that too, and like, kind of jumping into the dirt sheet. No, we're going to talk about dirt sheets later.
Well,
let's
talk about dirt sheets. Let's get into the match that came right after that.
Yeah. Yep. Here we go.
CM Punk versus Samoa Joe.
Man, this was such a good match.
Yes, it was.
They have such good chemistry together. I think CM Punk did one of the nope things to Samoa Joe, as a, callback to the nope thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a very brutal match. Fucking Punk getting like fucking swung through the little awning of the table, just getting the shit beat out of him. It was so good. And then just the level of trolling, like fucking, I think CM Punk did the slam. He did what was it? I think he did a A5. What is John Cena's finisher? I can't remember.
F5?
That's
attitude
Brock's.
Adjustment.
Attitude, the AA.
Yes.
He did the AA, I think, and he did like the hand raise.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going to act like he was going to do the "you can't see me."
Yes.
But he just ends up like flicking off the crowd. And he also does the Hogan joint and the leg drop. So he's just like really good at just trolling. Trolling legends, trolling other people, just trolling the crowd. And he's just like, it is entertaining. It's in the ring entertaining. And he's good at promos. He's just, he is a good, like, say what you will about him. He's getting a little bit older. He definitely doesn't wrestle like he used to. He also took 9 fucking years off or whatever it was, 7, 9 years. And, and then to go up there with fucking Samoa Joe up on the top turnbuckle and do the Pepsi plunge. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in so long. But yeah, it was a great match. I think he was like a little bloodied up and shit like that. He went to the fan in the front with the trans pride sign, fucking got some TV time on it. And it was just a great match. I really enjoyed it. And honestly, with everything that happened before the match, I couldn't tell.
Right. No, not at all.
And that's what's weird. That's like what we'll talk about later. Is just like he came out like he normally comes out. He didn't seem pissed. He didn't seem irritated. At the end of it, he didn't storm back. He, mingled with the crowd a little bit and pointed to a sign, smiling. And it's just like, I'd be pissed. But we'll see. How'd you feel?
This is one of the things I say, regardless of what they say goes on behind the scenes, these people are professionals. Yeah. And they know, in my opinion, I feel like they know who they're really there for. Yeah. Especially someone like a CM Punk, Samoa Joe. Maybe some of the younger cats don't know that yet, but the veterans, they know very well why they're there and who they're there for. So I think they're able to put it behind them. So next up, we have our favorite, the Gremlin Man himself, Juice Robinson, with Sling Blade Jay White, as well as it was Keshta was with him.
Yes, it was Takeshita.
Yeah, so
Bullet Club versus the Golden Elite.
Yeah, so Kota Ibushi, Hangman Page, and then Kenny Omega and Bullet Club Gold. We won. We talked about this too. We said that Bullet Club, Golden Elite, they don't need to win. Bullet Club Gold needs to win this match to really establish themselves, and and that's exactly what happened. And I wasn't unhappy. It was a pretty good match as far as I'm concerned as well.
It was an amazing match. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of good spots with Takeshita and Ibushi. There was a lot of good fucking things, obviously, with Kenny and fucking Switchblade meeting in the ring again, for the first time. Not the first time, but like, just to kind of reinvigorate the New Japan days.
Right.
Because we haven't had that yet in AEW. So there was a lot of good spots. My boy Rock Hard, dude, the entrance they had, the motherfucker was like on all fours, just barking, and I was just like, bro,
Juice is having so much fun.
Dude, he's just having the time of his fucking life, man. Just looking crazy, not giving a fuck. He like, man. And you know what? I'll give it to him, man. Him and Tony's tan, whoever they go for tanning, because like me and my wife like kind of did like a breakdown of like all the spray tans and fake tans and like how bad some of them are. Like MJF's tan is so bad, dog.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen it. Like his hands, like you can see like the fake tan like creep into his palms and shit. And it's like, bro, like, look at our boy fucking daddy ass over here, like been tanning himself, like, he's getting tanned for like 3 decades. Get some pointers,
Right, exactly.
And then fucking Jay White and fucking Rock Hard comes out looking the way they do, the Guns looking the way they do because they learned from daddy. So it's just that was really funny, but I digress. Great match. They're heels. Ass Boys fucking interfered. It was a really, really intense match. Seeing Ibushi out there was very nostalgic. It was nice, and I don't know what it is, man. I just Hangman just doesn't do it for me, dude. And I think I've said that before. I don't.
I agree.
I don't know.
I can't put my finger on it either because I used to like him.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with this aid. Like, I like the ROH stuff. I like that New Japan stuff back then. I don't know what it is about his AEW run. And I feel like a lot of it for me is how he was booked as champion, how it just was flat.
Yeah.
And he is, at least for me, he has never recovered from that.
Well, I mean, they also did the weird like drinking thing gimmick where he was just like drinking whiskey all the time or something like that, because he's a cowboy. And I was just like, man, that's so like on the nose, and like amazing performer. I love watching him wrestle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he's an amazing performer, but it's just, there's just something that just doesn't click. Like, he needs a change.
I agree.
I think, I don't know if it's the cowboy shtick. I don't know if it's just being paired with the elite for so long. Like I want to see him do something completely different. Like he's young. You know what I mean? Like I think the Young Bucks and fucking Kenny are pretty much stuck together for life. But like, like when they put him with Dark Order, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, let's see where this goes. And it went nowhere.
Exactly.
It went fucking nowhere. And I'm just like, oh my God, like you had the opportunity to do it back then, and you build it to what? Like I think it was, he had a match, like a mixed tag match, I think, against Dark Order or something. And no, it was the Dark Order versus him and the Young Bucks because like they got into each other's face, something like that. And he was like, no, like, I'll wrestle with you guys next week. And they're like, no, we want to wrestle you, dog. And I was just like, and that was the ending of it. It's like you spend all that time having Hangman with them only for it to happen at end at like a lackluster trios match on Dynamite.
Right.
It wasn't like built up for a pay-per-view or anything. It just, so what the fuck was it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I want him to turn.
We talk about, we talked about Terry Funk last week. We talked about wrestlers who've been able to evolve, to constantly stay fresh and relevant. I brought up Jericho, and Jericho is very much in this generation's day and age, a modern day master of reinvention.
Yeah.
Hangman needs a reinvention because he has been Hangman Page for as long as I've seen him wrestle. There has been no change in anything that he does.
Yeah.
That is one of the things I will say about WWE creative, love it or hate it. When they feel like something's stale, they will change your ass. And they will make changes to gimmicks and to characters, either fast or slow, but they will make changes. That is, I think, one of the things that AEW still has to find that footing on as far as when to pull the trigger to change characters, to change gimmicks, at least of their bigger stars. I mean, we've seen that with some of the lower and mid card, but not. Hangman is dying for a reinvention, straight up.
And like, and that's my thing too, is like, especially like a Wembley at something so big, like you could have turned him heel at Wembley, had him be the reason that Kenny and the Golden Lovers fucking lose to Bullet Club Gold and join Bullet Club Gold. Cowboy shit. Bang, bang, baby. You have your cowboy gun. Bang, bang. There you go. Perfect.
There you go.
Now you're a heel. Now you can work with fucking Jay White and fucking Rock Hard, Juicy. So and like you have different matches now. You have different chemistry. Now you can wrestle a different way, more aggressively, because you're a heel, more dirty. Like there's so much. Like I really do want to like them. I really do, but it's just boring. Yep, I'm sorry that went off a tired. It was still a great match, and I'm glad Bullet Club Gold won because, it was needed.
Yeah,
because some of the other decisions through the night I did not agree with.
I agree. Well, let's talk about a decision I think we both agree with: FTR defeating the Young Bucks.
Oh, of course, that was. I mean, every time they get together, it's a great fucking match. It's just so much in-ring chemistry, so much in-ring storytelling. I liked the ending, obviously. I liked how they won. Like, I think they all did like each other's finishers, their tag team finishers back and forth. It was, what's their move? The Shatter Machine?
Yes.
The FTR?
Yes. So
I think the Young Bucks did the Shatter Machine to them a couple times, So it was really interesting to see how it was structured. It was a little different from the other matches, which isn't a bad thing. But what kind of pissed me off is it's like at the end of it, the Young Bucks just like leave without shaking hands. So now it's still going to continue. Like you could have shake their hands and made it seem like shit's over and then pop it off later. But no, like you do this thing. So now it's like, are the Young Bucks heel? Even though Kenny and the Golden Lovers and Cowboy are technically a face. You didn't give respect to the champions who just beat you, who you also apparently have very good recognition with. And also like their little promo back and forth, they came off very heelish. And I mean, maybe that's what they need. I think the Young Bucks were better at being heels than faces. In my opinion, they were more entertaining.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's hard. But anyway, what did you think of it?
I thought it was a good match. I was very happy with, like we said, it's one of those things where we knew it was going to be a good match.
Yeah.
And so that was like the one match on the card where we knew guaranteed where it would be our money's worth.
Yeah, definitely.
So next up we could probably run through this pretty quickly. Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, Penta, Eddie Kingston and company. Stadium. Beat Blackpool Combat Club.
I'm pissed. And I think I explained this last week. If you do not let Blackpool Combat Club win this, you are fucking them over.
Right, I agree.
Because you made them lose that fucking Blood and Guts to goddamn Golden Elite or the Bullet. Wait, who did they fight? They fought Golden Elite, right? Yeah, because Ibushi was in it. And Eddie was in it as well. And now it's just like this was just like a reinvigorate Eddie, different Eddie and company. Now it's Eddie and Best Friends, and it's just I don't know. It's just it's really weird, I just I don't know. I'm pissed. It was a great match. It was crazy. Like shit was happening everywhere. It was amazing. Eddie was, at the bar. People were everywhere. The
sticks in the head. I was like,
oh the skewers, man. People had like the meme of like Penta's face, like just like all face.
Who
like
thought
shit.
Of that? Like who thought like, yeah, this is a good idea. When they're talking about it had to be Moxley.
Of course it was Mox. It was, man, there were so many good moments. And I just, I don't know. I forgot who pinned who. I think Orange pinned somebody. And like I said, like Orange has been on such a tear. He's won all these singles matches. He's been on this reign. Like, give the guy a loss.
Right.
Make it look like
Right.
he can lose.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, I know you're high up on him, and I am too. I love him, but like you're making him fucking Saitama at this point. He's
Yeah,
like this little scrawny dude, and he's just like fucking Superman punching his way to the top and like winning all these tag teams, trios, group matches, faction matches, singles matches. I mean, the guy can lose
he's
one
like
time.
unstoppable, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and he's always injured. Like he always has like this, he always has to fake this like, oh, my wrist hurts, I can't punch him, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, that would have been the time. Like, what are you doing? And BCC is such like they're such workhorses for the whole fucking company, and you can't give them one win.
Right, exactly.
The only thing I can think of is like, they lost this match. They lost the previous match. Bryan Danielson comes back and he's going to be like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what have you turned BCC into, John? Like, you were supposed to take over while I was injured, John. So maybe it starts some kind of conflict between them. Maybe that's their long-term booking. But like, like at least have like some kind of promo from Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, back home, just like watching and like putting his head down as they lose or something like that. Like, give some kind of foreshadowing to it.
Right. Maybe we'll see that next week on Dynamite.
Yeah. Or today. Maybe it's going to be tonight.
Today. Duh. It is Wednesday. It's Wednesday the time I'm recording.
It's happening right now. I'm recording it. So I'm going to watch it right after this. But yeah, man, I mean, it was still a good match. A lot of crazy spots. Penta got injured and then came back as Penta Obscura. So that was awesome. That was dope.
But he did. I guess we now have a new challenger for the international title.
Is that Wheeler? No,
Penta.
Oh, is it Penta?
Yeah, Penta challenged Orange at the Scrum afterwards.
Oh,
yeah.
I did not see that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be very interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah,
so
let's bring it.
I think that'd be a good person to put it on too, because he's had that title for so long. Orange with that title makes it forgettable, in my opinion.
Really?
Only because because of his run. I don't know. Orange is just not he's just an unbelievable character in kind of what we're saying and how they booked him. So I constantly forget that he's even has the title because it doesn't stand out for me more so than how they booked him. And that's kind of where I am with that. So
he's also not your typical. He's also not your typical champion,
and that's like, fine.
His promos aren't red hot, obviously, because of his nonchalant gimmick. You know what I mean? He's not up there like saying he's the best in the world or this and other, cutting promos in the ring. Even Christian comes out to the ring with the belt. He doesn't really do that. He just wrestles. And he's like the working wrestler. And that's what I appreciate. That's the shit that I hate in WWE is I hate the people who just have the belts and just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And they don't, fucking give it up. I think they had a statistic and was like, Orange Cassidy has, had the belt for like 280 days and has like defended it like 49 times or something like that. And it was like Roman Reigns has been champion for 1,000 something days and he's only defended it 30 something times. And it's like, so who's the real champion?
Right.
So I'm just like, and I agree with that. I'm like, he's been busting his ass.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that at all.
And honestly, like that's the way to do it too, because like after he gets a good long run, he's going to get tired. He needs a break. Then you can find out who's going to take the next run. Instead of like pacing it out like Roman Reigns. It's just like if Roman Reigns defended that shit every week, he'd be exhausted. And I'm like, all right, yeah, we got to take it off him. He needs a break.
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe because it is Orange Cassidy, I just feel as though like that international title has not been elevated to a point where it is like that mid-card title that everybody wants. And maybe that's on because I feel like I see that over the TBS title or TNT title. Yeah, and talk about how that's been booked. Well, I'm not really upset with Luchasaurus and Christian, but we know how it's been booked before then. I think it lost a lot of luster with how they booked it before. So I feel like it's World Championship international, I guess is what, world and real world, I don't know, championship, international, and then the TNT title is like your lower tier belt. And I guess if you put the FTW title in that as well, but I see the international title is to be like the stepping stone to the world title, much like the Intercontinental belt was back in the day before the advent of the US title from WCW and everything. Like that was the title. Like once you got that, you were destined to, in many respects, you were going for the WWE Championship.
Yeah, you were on top of the mid card,
right?
And you were about to break into like the main event scene,
right?
As long as you were still over and hot,
right?
You know what I mean? So yeah, and I agree, and honestly, I think that's what's going to happen with Orange. I think he is going to get the next title shot. I think eventually, when he does drop the international, he might take a month or two break, and then he's going to come back. People are going to be excited that he's back because they missed him, and then he's going to challenge whoever the champion is at the time. You know, the main AEW championship. You know, whether it's MJF, whether it's fucking Adam Cole or fucking CM Punk, who fucking knows? I think that's going to be the thing. If he wins it, I have no fucking clue. But like I said, they're high up on him, so it could be.
Yeah, could be. All right, so next up we have the match which we all called the women's four-way match with Saraya, Toni Storm, Britt Baker, and Hikaru Shida. And we all called Saraya winning, but we all didn't like that call because I think all of us, if I remember correctly, wanted Shida to have a nice little run with the belt.
Yeah. Yeah. This is very reminiscent of Asuka. You know, what they did to Asuka in WWE.
Yep.
It kind of really pisses me off. Also, the match was only like 8 fucking minutes.
Yeah, I saw it was like 8 minutes and 50 some seconds or something.
Yeah, man.
Stupid.
For 4 women, like really, what the fuck? Like you had Ruby come out, like you teased the breakup of fucking Outcast because Tony hit Saraya's mom or whatever like that. Now Saraya's champion. Like they showed Mercedes up in the fucking stand, you know, earlier in the night. I thought she was gonna come make her way down and do something, did not. You know, like had the whole like UK wig joint going on. You know, it still didn't show up. That was kind of annoying. You know, there was a really cool spot, I think, when Saraya had Tony and like I don't know what's that submission where you're like fucking you have them bent over.
That was beautiful.
Like you have their fucking arms back and like a full Nelson stretching them out, and fucking Britt just comes up and stomps Tony to the ground. Like that looked wild.
Yeah, that was a great
looked crazy. That was good. The fits were pretty good, you know, except for Tony coming out in like a basic ass lingerie robe, you know, that looked like she got on Amazon.
She looked good though. I'll give her that.
She did look good. I mean, she's killing that Marilyn Monroe gimmick, man. So more power to her. Yet again, that's reinventing yourself because, you know, this was not her a couple weeks ago. You know what I mean? She had the leather jacket. She was a punk. You know, she came out with the spray paint just like, you know, Ruby, and she just kind of turned it real quick and it works. But yeah, man, knew it was going to happen. Not happy about it. You know, Saraya just did not look on it, you know, and then to have that whack ass fucking song play when she won with her bullshit ass boyfriend, fiance, whatever the fuck he is, who's fucking, what is he, like a rapist? I can't remember. He does a bunch of wild shit. And he's also like a transphobe and a fucking homophobe. And he does all this dumb shit, and Saraya like supports all this shit. And it's like, how the fuck are you with this dude?
She clearly hasn't had the best taste in men over the years. So
you are very correct in that regard. So yeah, I don't, you know, there's obviously stories that can happen with Saraya. Like obviously as Mercedes comes in, because both of them have a claim to leading the revolution, the women's revolution.
Right.
You know, Paige back in the day, you know, Paige claimed that she was the women's revolution. You know, she started it, you know, but then, you know, Sasha believes that she started it with, you know, Charlotte, Bayley, and Becky, you know, so it's just, there's story there that can be told. I just don't know when to do it. Like this would have been the show to have Mercedes come out to. It's 80,000 people. Like I don't know what's more important than that. You know, like
agree.
all out. I don't really, that doesn't, I don't, you know what I mean? Like you have like no hype behind All Out right now because you had All In. So it doesn't make sense to bring Mercedes out at All Out and you're in Chicago, which has no semblance to Sasha at all.
No.
You know, she's from what, California, I think?
Yes.
So it's just like, it makes zero sense. So, I mean, like I said, there's something there. I'm pissed that Hikaru got fucking ousted.
I agree.
So quickly. Like she won at the 200th anniversary of Dynamite and then fucking loses 2 weeks later in an 8-minute match.
She is, and again, we've talked about how I think for the most part we haven't liked how they booked their women's division for a long while.
Yeah.
She is one of the bright spots of the women's division, in my opinion. Even from when she was I was excited for when she was champion. She's one of the, I want to say, AEW originals that I felt like was always over. So to see her lose so quickly, and then in a 4-way match and a match that went so quickly as well, I'm disappointed in it. Like I'm happy in the context of like storylines, like Saraya won in England. Okay, humongous pop, we all called that, but you know, it's a great moment. But how let me put it this way. This is going to something that Eric Bischoff said about All In. And some people may not like this, but when I think of moments, you think of WrestleMania moments. And he was just like, it was, I don't know if I agree with about it being a hyped up indie show. That's his opinion. But he made it kind of like this. It wasn't a WrestleMania. And I'm thinking, in that aspect, I agree with him. It's not one of those moments. And again, partially because AEW is so young. And they have not carved out a show that is, in my opinion, a WrestleMania equivalent as far as moments, as far as hype. And again, my opinion.
Right. I mean,
but that's because they're so young. And, you know,
yeah.
But this moment or something like that is a great moment, but it's a standalone moment. It's not something I think people will look back on, even with AEW, and I think AEW will be around for a while, 5-10 years from now. Will people really look at that moment of Saraya winning at Wembley and think, oh, yeah, that was a great moment? I don't think so, personally speaking. I think it's very ephemeral.
I bet you a lot of UK people will feel it that way.
I agree with you on that one.
And you know, I peeped what Eric Bischoff said. And he's just a hater.
I don't disagree with you on that one either.
He's just an overall hater. He's mad that he didn't get that accolade. He's mad that he didn't have that opportunity. You know, he did the Korean joint that had like the most attendees, but they weren't paid. They were forced to be there,
right? Or
else they'd get executed,
right?
Well, way to go, Eric Bischoff. But you know, and I look back at what you just said and like the WrestleMania moments, and I feel like that's a fairy tale.
Okay.
Because the last few WrestleManias have not given me those moments.
That I don't disagree with either.
You know, I think this last one, what we had, Sammy versus, Roman, and then we also had the Usos versus. No, it was Sammy
versus. I'm not saying
it was Sammy and Kevin versus. Right.
Yeah.
And like that was a good moment. You know, that was a build up. That was a very long time build up though that led to that moment. But like, and then I think Rhea beat Charlotte for the women's title. Those are the two moments I remember. I can't remember anything else.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, and that's with all WrestleManias, even the WrestleMania that we went to in 2019. That was Kofi Mania. I remember Kofi Mania. And I remember Becky winning the belt when she became the man. And that was the only two things I remember. They always fill WrestleMania with bullshit.
Right.
You know, you had Logan Paul, I think, at this one, bullshit match. You had John Cena come back with Austin Theory, I think, bullshit match. You know, you always have the Miz tangled in some kind of fuckery match. You know, Shane before this one was always at every single match with a bullshit match because he had to have a Shane O'Mac moment, which was bullshit. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, miss me with the fucking they didn't have, you know what I mean? Like, not you, but like with Eric Bischoff, like, miss me with that shit, dog. Like, I don't think there's ever been a WrestleMania where I've been like, man, these are all WrestleMania moments. You know what I mean? There's always some kind of weird fluff into every single show.
Right.
You know, and I guess you kind of have to in a 4 or 5 hour fucking pay-per-view. You know, all of them can't just be bangers left and right. But for All In, I think that I think there's a lot of good moments. Obviously not the women's match, in which that's, you know, we've been talking about for a very long time. Like, this was a 4-hour show and the women got 8 minutes and 55 seconds. Right. Like, that kind of sucks, you know? But I digress. Could talk about that forever. But I mean, we got a couple of moments I want to talk about that are WrestleMania, I think, you know, moments.
All right. So next up, we have Sting and Darby Allin versus, they defeated Strickland and Christian Cage in a coffin match.
Man,
Sting is undefeated in coffin matches for his career.
So is Darby.
Yeah.
So is Darby. I really wanted him to lose one, man. You know, and I really wanted them to put over Swerve, you know, especially with Swerve's intro. Like, he's just over, even as a heel, man.
Yeah.
He's just so good. And it was a great match. And, like, you know, obviously seeing Christian and Sting in the ring together, man, that was a crazy moment, you know, to see that. You know, I was really happy about that. Just see Sting out there and then Sting taking these bumps, you know, Darby throwing his body. Yet? Oh, yeah, he's 60 plus.
The bumps he was taking, man.
Dude, crazy.
Yes.
Crazy. And I'm just like, dude.
I'm 45. I can't imagine taking those kind of bumps.
Bro. I'm just like, what the fuck? And then Darby doing his, you know, coffin drop onto the coffin a bunch of time, fucking his back up. I don't know how this man hasn't, like, shattered a vertebrae.
Me either.
Like, this man throws his body. And that's what I love about Darby. I do love that about him. You know, I like what we said with Hangman. I need something different from Darby
because he's been this character since his Evolve days.
Yeah.
I mean, So
and he's been with Sting since the, like, almost damn near the beginning of AEW.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, when is he going to turn on Sting? You know, when is it going to happen? It's got to happen. You got to give him a heel turn.
Right.
Give him a fucking. You got MJF, who's now a babyface technically. You got Sammy, who's turning into a babyface. Jack Perry just turned heel. Darby, goddamn it, turn heel. Like, you can't have, you know, 3 of the 4 pillars be babyfaces right now. Can't. But I digress. Great match. You know, I love the, you know, bat coming out of the coffin at the end when they almost put Sting in the coffin or whatever. I also saw funny, like, some of Swerve's dreads were out of the some of his dreads were outside of the coffin when he shut the coffin. So someone was just like, oh, doesn't count. A part of his body was out of the coffin, his dreads. It wasn't fully sealed. You know, so who knows? They might hark back to that actually in Dynamite tonight. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I mean, it was a good moment, like I said, in front of 80,000 people to see Christian and fucking Sting in the ring.
I agree.
You know, and you know, to some, that's a WrestleMania moment, man.
That I don't disagree with in that assessment at all. All right. Next up, another match we were excited about, and one that we said should go exactly the way it went. Will Ospreay defeated Chris Jericho.
Woo! I didn't know Chris Jericho had the moves in him, man.
Right.
I didn't know that, man. He's, woo, boy. This was a match, man. From the intros to the gear, you know, just to all the transitions, all the spots. Man, it was fucking good. I fucking love this match. The fucking
Yeah.
apron suplexes, the apron bombs, the fucking it was just everything. I think there was one, oh man, what was it? It was like a weird transition. It was like a Panama Sunrise reversal into a Lion Tamer kind of ordeal. Like Will Ospreay just makes people look good because he's so fucking good.
That is true.
I wish he wasn't a shitty human being. Well, I think he used to be a shitty human being, and he's getting better. I don't fucking know. It's like one of those weird things. But yeah, man, that was such a good fucking match. And yeah, you have that's the way you have to go. He's not even signed to AEW. There, people are just like, yo, like, they gave him like all the pyro, the intro, right, the big ass like introduction and the win over one of their top stars, and he's not even signed to AEW. This is definitely like a, hey, come to us when your shit's up.
Yep. And he's about to show up at Impact now too.
Yeah. Bound for Glory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I'm just like, the promos were good, like, and they didn't have that long to set up the promos, but it was still just very captivating.
Right.
But that was also, because Chris is good at that. Chris is good at on the mic. He's good at promo. Like he's, like Miz. Miz is good at like stirring up heat and starting shit. He's good on the mic. He doesn't pause. He's just goes. He has an idea of what he's talking about, and he just goes and rambles, and it kind of brings out the best in other people. I think like it really riles them up. Like fucking, Will was very riled up during their promo. I think like the Dynamite before All In, and I've never seen that side of him before. So I was just like, oh, okay, like cool, bruv. Hey, bruv. I just kept saying bruv. Oh, he's pissed. Whenever you hear bruv all the time like that, someone's pissed.
Exactly.
The UK person is mad. But yeah, and like that was a WrestleMania moment. Having him to come back to his hometown against a legend like Chris Jericho, like all these spots, like I think that was a 5-star match. Yeah. And
Jericho still pulls him out, man.
I don't know how.
Me either.
He's up there too. Isn't he like 50 something?
I think so.
Like he's getting up there, and he's still fucking diving off the fucking the top turnbuckle and doing all this crazy stuff. I'm just, it's crazy.
Yep. So next up, everybody loves the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed defeats the House of Black for the Trios Championship. This is one I was happy with.
Really?
I was wondering, okay, what were they going to do with the Acclaim? I feel like I've liked this feud, and this is one where I feel like it could keep going. And that's why I like it. I like, we talked about before how we kind of had that hot potato back in the day with WWE, with belts going back and forth, but a lot of those belts went back and forth in feuds. I like the House of Black Acclaim feud, and I feel like there's a lot more gas left in this. So that's why I wasn't unhappy with it. Not just like the Acclaim in general, but still, they have such good matches together and great chemistry in the ring together.
Yeah.
I want to see more, and I hope this translates to more. So that's why I was happy about the Acclaim winning.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, it was a great match. They definitely have good chemistry. I'm just I'm getting tired of like the established factions being beaten by like hodgepodge groups.
Okay.
And I know Daddy Ass has been with the Acclaimed for quite some time.
Right.
But he was kind of thrown into them. They're a tag team. They're not really a trios team.
Understood.
And then with BCC was a faction, is a faction. The faction of people. It's not a tag team. It's not a trios group. Yeah, they can break it down to 2 of them or 3 of them to be in those categories, but they're a faction. And the fact that they have lost these faction battles over and over to these hodgepodge groups, and the Golden Elite, back at Blood and Guts, and now to best friends with Eddie Kingston and Penta, it just it irks me. And I gotta get over that. I think, it just irks me because like it feels very WWE.
Understood.
because they do that. And I think I want them to be different than that. Like, the WWE hated factions for so long, and AEW dove into it, and now it's like you're shitting on the factions a little bit, and like I'm just afraid that it's going to kind of kill House of Black's momentum.
Understood.
Because their fucking intro
yes
was so good. The tribute to Bray, and we didn't even have a chance to talk about Bray, man. That shit fucked me up. Like so bad.
Yeah.
Being 36 years old.
I still can't believe it.
I can't either.
We literally what we just talked about, like him and coming back and that whole feuding with Cody thing, and
because that's the mentor.
Like he's not here, and
makes me sad. Very, very fucking sad.
It's been a week, and I'm sure we've talked about it amongst our cohorts and whatnot and online since then. It's just the words it's still hard to get the words out because he was such what we wanted wrestling to be about. The passion, the creativity, like he was the embodiment of what we love about wrestling through and through.
Yeah.
And the fact that someone who was so pure in it, like passed away so suddenly, so quickly, and at such a young age, especially in wrestling terms. But I mean, he's 36. I'm 45. I'm 9 years older than he was. And the fact that I'm like, he's gone.
Yeah.
And then, outside of the family aspect, like he has a wife, kids from his current marriage and previous marriage, like they're going to grow up without their father. Like there are memories of their father, what they have, and then watching him on the WWE network or Peacock, or like, dude, that broke my heart more than anything.
Every time they show the tribute, because they showed it again last night, and they get to the picture of him like brushing his daughter's hair, and then it gets to like the family picture of him, JoJo, and his like 2 youngest or 3 youngest. Like it breaks me every time.
Yeah.
Like it's just so sad. And like I'm 35. I'm 1 year away, and he died from a heart attack at 35. And it's just scary to think about things like that, because like we literally just talked about the dirt sheet saying that he was doing better,
right?
And that he had the complication with COVID that exacerbated like a heart condition that he was having, but he was on the mend, and they're putting him back in creative, and then all of a sudden, just a Thursday morning, dude, it's sad. I cosplayed this dude. I love this dude, man. Like, it sucks. And then, I think Becky shared a story on Monday night that was very sad. Like she like broke down, like when she won her match, because she put the Zoe and Trish through tables, and apparently Windham was the person to kind of teach her how to set up tables before table matches she had, because she had no idea how to do it. And I was just like, man, he was just such a good, genuine dude. Like everyone just shared so many good stories about him. I'm just like, Jesus. Like I never heard about how he was backstage. And that's typically what happens. If someone's like a good egg, you don't really hear a lot about them.
Right.
Like you only hear about the bad eggs, and you only hear about the good eggs until something like this happens. And that's what sucks.
Yes. Like
I would love to know who is that charismatic person backstage, taking care of people, caring about people, who is empathetic. I want to hear about that. I don't want to hear about the hazing and like the assholes, So I mean, that's really sad. I didn't mean to bog that. I didn't mean to bog that down.
I mean, I thought about it earlier. It's like, are we going to get a chance to talk about it with just how this card is and how we're going? But it's just it's
their tribute, House of Black's tribute. Because obviously there's a lot of similarities between Malachi and Bray Wyatt.
Right.
And when they're in WWE, I really wanted them to feud, man.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Bray was having the let me in shit. And I think at the time Malachi was doing the I'm the one who knocks.
Right.
And I'm like, this is like perfect. Like he knocks. let me in, like, you know what I mean? So like, and like they went nowhere with him. Like, no, what happened? Like that would have been so good. And like it, it was just nice to see that the wrestling world came together.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. That was, if there's anything, I think that going back to the top of the show, I think that fans forget how big of a family like the wrestling community is.
Yeah.
Fans get so, some fans, not all,
Yeah.
get so tribalist when it comes to different promotions.
Yeah.
That it really is one big wrestling community. And since Bray's whole career, or when his whole career was in WWE, he didn't compete anywhere else. The fact that everyone who had a show that weekend took time to honor him.
Yeah.
You know, obviously also Terry Funk. Terry Funk was everywhere, so everybody has history with Terry Funk. They had a show this weekend. But they took time to honor him. That tells you or shows you how this is really one big world of wrestling and not just AEW, WWE, Impact, or whomever. And that was beautiful to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It was nice seeing all the Bray and Windham arm tags, you know, FTR had them. And it's, like I said, it sucks. He had so much more to give, and he had so much more life to live, being with his kids, being with JoJo. Like, this sucks.
It does.
And like what's even sucks too is like I literally had a guy on my job site, because I work construction, like have a heart attack on my job site. And he was like 50. And he collapsed on like a hack of drywall, and we had to call 911, and he had a blood clot in one of his valves, and he survived. And I'm just like, you know, like my father has had heart attacks and survived, and I'm just like, it's so scary, because like you hear stories like this, and he was 36.
Right.
He was active, you know, he was healthy, and still. So it's just very scary.
It is
very sad. But yeah, I mean, House of Black had their intro. They came out with the lantern. They set it down. And they also did kind of like the white light thing that Bray did at not the Pepsi, the fucking Mountain Dew match. So I mean, there was like a lot of callbacks to Bray. So that was very, very nice to see. But yeah, I mean, that was a great match, man. It was seriously a great match. I forgot how it ended. I forgot who pinned who. I think Daddy Ass pinned somebody.
Yes.
Did he pin Malachi?
I want to say yes, but I really don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But yeah, I mean, if it leads into something more, great. You know, I don't really know who else can be in the trios.
Right.
You know, you have the Golden Elite. I mean, they could technically do it, you know, if Ibushi still has time. But yet again, like I said, I'm bored of
Isn't Ibushi the free agent?
I think he is.
So he got time.
Yeah, he got time. But yeah, I don't really think there's any other like trio, like
no, there really aren't
up trios, so it's kind of hard.
I mean, the Dark Order's over in RH at the moment.
Yeah.
And honestly, they wouldn't be the way they built them up, they wouldn't be a credible faction, in my opinion. Not unless you bring over, what is it, the Kingdom.
Yeah, the Kingdom with Roddy.
Yeah. Or even
we got to get to that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All right, let's talk about MJF defeating Adam Cole.
Woo! This was story, baby. This gave Bloodline story. It was a double pin count, you know. Well, first the intros, you know, old boy Adam Cole coming out as what's his name? Handsome Jack from Borderlands. Came out in that garb. Just a thunderous Adam Cole, baby. Like, it was so good. And then MJF coming out with the fucking classical music, with the fucking being wheeled out on the throne with the devil mask, with the women bowing and shit like that, just completely over the top, you know. And let me just say, the pyro was 10 times better, obviously, because they are at a fucking stadium.
Yes.
So this was the fucking pyro, baby. But yeah, MJF came out, and it was good. It was good storytelling. It was good wrestling. You know, it was amazing. I loved it. And you know, the double count out, and then give me 5 more minutes. We're calling back to the last match, and he was like, no, we're going all night until Wembley has a winner or whatever. And then fucking Roddy came out and tried to get him, and I was just like, man, right when he came out, I was like, man, I fucking called it. I called it. It just didn't end
Exactly. Yeah,
I didn't. You know what I mean? Like, I thought he was going to get Adam Cole disqualified. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I still like the way that it won. You know, I still like the drama at the end of it. You know, giving him the belt, like, you were never my friend. You only wanted the belt. Here, take it, hit me. And then Roddy's just like, hey! Like, screaming at him like frantically, let's go. And he doesn't. And then they hug it out, man. And that sets it up. That sets it up to go to ROH with the tag team belts, take on the Kingdom. Fucking, he probably cut a promo right now against fucking Roderick Strong. And I think this builds up really nicely if this becomes a feud with all them, because then when Kyle O'Reilly comes back, he's going to come back and be like, yo, what the fuck? And I think that's when the break with MJF is going to happen.
Yeah.
Is when Kyle O'Reilly comes back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, that was, man, there were so many moments in that match where I thought it was over. It was just so like edge of your seat. Like I said, it was like Bloodline. Like that was the WrestleMania moment, man.
I agree. I agree totally. I think that, you know, we have criticized AEW for long-term storytelling in the past, but they've gotten it right with this storyline.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and this lead, like I said, I mean, MJF is newer. He's young, you know, so he obviously has no history with Adam Cole.
Right.
But obviously this builds to something later down the line too. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing that AEW is missing, because they only been around for 5 years. So they're trying to use shit from indie. Like, obviously, you know, CM Punk and Samoa Joe's history doesn't come from AEW, you know, comes from all the other fucking promotions.
Right.
But yeah, man, I was thoroughly sports entertained through it all. You know, mad about the Soraya thing. Mad about, you know, I'm a little mad that House About Black lost. I mean, talking with you, I get the gist, you know, the hot potato thing. Like, you know, let's make it like, you know, okay. You know, you finally beat us once. You got the belts. Now give us our rubber match, you know, kind of ordeal.
If they do it that way, they could totally screw this up. Who knows?
They could. We'll see on Collision.
Yep.
And I guess All Out. I don't know what's happening at All Out. So I'm going to look on Twitter and watch Dynamite tonight and see if anything's got announced for All Out. So we can make some predictions for that later on. But yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So real quick, about running out of time, we had some other wrestling shows. You took a look at Impact Emergence. You know, I guess your high points of that.
High points, obviously Trinity coming out. Love seeing Trinity. Other high point, the Rascals. I never knew who they were.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never seen them before.
Okay.
And I watched that tag match, and I didn't know. I don't think I know the other team either. Who was the tag team champ? The Subculture or some shit like that.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't familiar with. Like, I'd seen them, but outside of Impact, I had no idea who they were.
Rascals completely captivated me.
Yes.
They were amazing. I'm glad they won. I know I heard bits and pieces of their story about how they never won the title. They got so close. They never won it. So this is their first time winning it. I'm glad that happened when I watched it. They were amazing. They were amazing in the ring. They're just very captivating, like I said. So that was a very big high point. And then you know, I was trying to get behind the women's wrestling because you hyped it up so much. And I don't know if you hyped it up too much to where I was just like expecting too much, because the women's tag team 4-way was kind of meh to me.
Yeah,
It lasted pretty long, but
yeah, from what I saw of that match, it probably wasn't the one I would recommend.
yeah.
I have enjoyed what some of MK Ultra's done, but I think when you have that many teams
The
in
Dom
ring,
subgroup, Jesus,
yeah.
I was just like, bro, what is happening?
Yeah,
I was like, what's this leash? What's this leash doing? Oh.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I don't think that was the best representation of some of the things they've done lately.
Yeah. And like even watching Deonna Purrazzo versus Trinity, I felt like, I don't know, I felt like there was a beat missing from Deonna Purrazzo. I feel like Trinity had I feel like Trinity had to bog down a little bit, and obviously Trinity's just a full-on fucking athlete. But it felt like she had to dull herself down. And then they also had Gail Kim on commentary, and it was just very low energy.
That's one of the things I think that I will say, and we were talking about commentary beforehand, not so with Gail Kim, but just in general, Impact as a whole, I think needs to find a way to really, and we know they're doing something with production, but the production, the commentary, to give more energy to the presentation, because I think that really takes away from what we're seeing in the ring.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely see that. And like I said, like the audio was just taking me out. So like I literally texted you guys about that audio shit, and then that article came out, and I was like, that's hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, and like a couple other things, like just seeing PCO come out, attacking old boy, fucking
Bully Ray.
Seeing Bully Ray, seeing Leo Rush was pretty cool. Leo Rush is just such a great athlete. So that was a cool moment. And then Kurt Hawkins, to see him actually doing something and not just having like a losing streak record on WWE. So yeah, there was a couple of familiar faces, which was pretty cool to see, but like nothing really stuck out to me outside of the Rascals. And then what Eric Young was also there. He was the opening match, Eric Young versus Diener, which I didn't know their history, but that was a pretty okay match.
Yeah,
See Connor too was pretty
too
cool.
long to explain at the moment, but definitely history there as far as Impact is concerned.
Yeah,
so that was Emergence. We had one other show this weekend before we ran out of time. We had NWA 75, and there was 2 nights, too much for me to really remember or even figure out what was going on at some point in time. But at the end of the day, the World Heavyweight Championship match was a bull rope match between Tyrus and EC3, and the stipulation was if Tyrus lost, he would retire. Well, EC3 is the new world's heavyweight champion for NWA, and I am actually excited for this. I didn't hate Tyrus's run, but I didn't really enjoy Tyrus's run either.
He's such a disgusting human being.
I don't know about that. I'm just saying, as far as the presentation and in-ring work, especially for me, how they built up that title beforehand didn't work for me. But hopefully EC3 will bring some of that back, in my opinion. Or that's my hope.
Control your narrative.
Right. So, Sean, what's happening with you?
Man, as always, promoting Nerdvana 2 coming up, Nerdvana Experience coming up in Silver Spring Black Box at the end of September. It's 22nd, 23rd, 24th. We have a Nerdcore concert with Wreck the System headlining. And then we also have our showcase show on Saturday night. And it's going to be a great fucking show. You can find it over at flyingvtheater.com.
Awesome. Well, you can find everything gaming, style, fragrance, all that stuff over at websterstyle.com. Is over here, right here. You're currently, Nerds Through the World. Make sure you follow us everywhere. NRW on Twitter, New Release Wednesday on Instagram, and you're currently on YouTube. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe. This has been another KayFabeyBaby. We're going to count us out. Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
You come in my face, I'm gonna fight you. Well, you're not gonna bust a nut anytime we're in the ring. I'm gonna get off by cranking your knob just a little beyond the breaking point.
When I get my hands on you, I'm gonna eat your ass like a pot of collard greens, baby.
I'm gonna stretch his ass like it's never been stretched before. You can hide behind that commissioner stuff just so long until I jerk a knot in your ass.
And if you don't think I'm big enough, and you grab a hold of me, and you'll know that I'm growing, my man. Within your hands, I will get as big as I need to be to do the job on you.
The Rock just jerked Helmsley off.
There's one part of our bodies that's soft, and it ain't soft all the time, if you catch my meaning.
I'm gonna come on you like nobody's ever come on you before. Just you and I getting it on like two men should do.
Oh, that's it,
Corey boy, I'm coming hard.